Hi everyone, this is Jenny. I'm excited to be back to share another video in my new craft room in our new house. I'm still sort of getting everything set up, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to make sure that this comes out okay. I'm still working on the lighting and things like that and glares and stuff, so I appreciate your patience. But I am dying to do some Valentine's cards to share, and so I thought I would go ahead and do that. I am going to post a final scrap room tour of everything after we have finished. Not quite finished yet. I'll link the other videos down below if you have not seen them yet. It's been really exciting and really educational and really very motivating for some lost mojo for a little bit there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to do. I have had this background stamp from Simon Says Stamp for a while, and I cannot believe I haven't used it. I swear I thought I had, but I really haven't. I was super inspired from Christina Werner and Debbie Hughes, who's amazing. If you haven't seen either of their videos on this, you should see that. This is probably going to be a little bit of a repeat, or at least inspired by them, because I plan to use it the same way. And I'm pretty much going to use that heat embossed and as a resist, and then color it with some distress oxides, and then just do a simple sentiment. So I'm just trying to kind of coordinate and make sure everything gets, you know, worked out with lighting, and mostly to just get back in the groove of things. So let's get started. Okay, first I'm going to apologize for the lighting. I'm still trying to work it out, and had trying to work out this glare on the light fixture that we put above the desk, but put it back away from the desk thinking it would help the glare, and I had to turn it off because it didn't, so I ended up having a light source from this right side you can see, and so the left side kind of was in shadow, and I'm still working on that. So I know this is grainy and not that great, but just bear with me, and I still wanted to post this anyway, although it wasn't, you know, exactly the way I wanted it to turn out, but I'm getting there. Okay, so this is a card I'm going to do. You saw that's a Simon Says Stamp. It's called the Center Cut Heart Background. It's a cling stamp, and it's really neat. You can take that heart part out in the middle, and or leave it in. And I don't have the die that goes with it, but I've seen a lot of really interesting things that people have done with it, either leaving it in a different color, or you know, however they do it, just doing the sentiment in the middle. But what I decided to do was keep it pretty simple, and to heat emboss it with a just a white Hero Arts Superfine embossing powder. And I'm going to go over it there pretty good, and the entire time I was stamping it out, I was letting my heat gun warm up, because that was really important with such a big area. It did get a little bit warped, but I did heat up the back a little bit, and that helped. So and I also did it on a larger piece of paper so I could cut it down, so I would have something to grab onto, and I wouldn't have to worry about centering it too much. Okay, so now the plan is to use that as a resist. You can barely see it there, and I'm going to use some distress oxides and color it sort of radiating from the inside light part to darker as it goes out. And I'm using these, I've got two of these different stencil brushes, or sort of blender brushes. One is from Nuvo, and then the other one is from Ken Oliver Crafts. They're both wonderful, and the only reason I've got two of them is because I've got two different sets, and I keep them for specific colors, so they just happen to be the pink and that sort of peachish, orangish red color I use. So the colors I'm using are Spun Sugar, Worn Lipstick, and Barn Door, and these are all in the oxides. And The barn door you'd think would be a little bit too red, but I did use it kind of more at the corners, and it, I mean, I like that sort of reddy, peachy color a little bit more than just too much of a hot pink. And I went over this a lot. I mean, I kept going over it and over and over it. And I kind of wish I'd kept the center part just a little bit lighter. I did try to go back over it and pink it up a little bit, but that it didn't work out as much as I wanted it to. But I'm still happy with the way it came out. I had debated putting something bigger over the center so you wouldn't see that, but I did leave that kind of little bit of a highlight there, although most of it gets covered up with the sentiment. So anyway, I'm going to go back around with that barn door around the corners, and then I'm going to use a tissue and buff off all the places that it's over that white so that the white really stands out. And then I'm going to keep going back over that. And I decided that it still wasn't, it didn't have enough definition kind of for what I wanted, and I thought it might be interesting to add some more. So what I decided to do was to add some, I'll add some Prismacolor in a minute. First up, I used a die actually and cut it down to a little bit smaller than an A2 card. And I've got, this is my card base that I made out of Neenah 110-pound Stellar White, and that's also what I used for the embossed piece there. I've got a pretty thick piece of styrofoam that I'm going to use to pop it up with, and I just set that off to the side. So now I've got my Prismacolors, and I cannot remember what the colors were I used. I picked out 3 colors that I thought sort of matched the inks, but maybe just a little bit darker. I'm kind of testing them out there, and I pick out 2 of them that I use to sort of blend over specific parts of it just to give it a little bit more definition and a little bit of depth. And I did that in kind of like the places where they were the hearts and a couple of these sort of other kind of petal-like leaf areas, I guess. And then went over them with both of the pencils to kind of help blend it out a little bit and make it a little smoother of a blend. I kind of thought I might get a little bit carried away on this part, but I somehow kept it down to a little bit of a minimum. I just wanted to add a little bit of something different without going too overboard. I mean, anyway, so once I did that, I did the same kind of thing. I buffed out with, I try to use my finger a little bit to blend it, and that kind of smudged it a bit, so I used the tissue again to blend that out. And once I get those kind of all set up, I am going to move on to the sentiment. I am almost ready to show the finished craft room, and we'll maybe show some before pictures again. I'm really excited to share it, and I just have not got to get some other boxes out of the way, and then everybody on the planet got sick, and so we've had a lot of other things going on. But it's I love a good before and after, and so I am excited to see what everybody thinks. Okay, I'm gonna finish up with that, and I'll have these colors listed below since I couldn't remember the specific numbers or the names of those colors. I've got a big set of Prismacolors, so that's I don't always remember them by name or number. Okay, so now I'm going to use some Deluxe adhesive from Nuvo to glue that piece of styrofoam down, and it's a pretty thick piece. I don't use it for a lot of intricate sort of stuff, but I use it for just a general kind of larger dimension. So now I've got 2 different sentiments from this Avery L Simple Sentiment set, and I was going to try to sort of build my own little sentiments, and I wanted to have it start from smaller to larger and sort of in this, you know, space that would fit well inside that heart. So I grabbed the little tiny XOXO and the one that says Love You More, and then from the new Avery L Cherub Valentine set that just came out recently, I grabbed the Happy Valentine's Day. So I'm going to use a piece of basil cardstock and in black, and I'm just gonna use my powder tool there to make sure there's no static and stamp the 3 of those, and see, I had to get a little bit of stack on it. Stamp the 3 of those, and I'm going to use 3 different colors of embossing powder. I'll show 2 of them, but I end up using the white in the end. I used the superfine white again, and I use a Nuvo Copper Blush, I believe is the name of it, and it's sort of a nice deep rose gold. And then I used the Lawn Fawn Rose Gold, which is a lot brighter of a pinky peach color, and that's the one I did not show me embossing, but I do show it at the end, and I'll just save those for another card that I may do. I did heat emboss 2 or 3 of these big heart images and emboss them so I can color them in a different way, maybe watercolors or something else. So anyway, those are the 2 sentiment sets there, and then I'm going to run them through my Gemini Junior using the coordinating, or sort of same size sentiment strip set from Avery L. And I thought about mixing them up color-wise, like having, you know, the 3 of the different colors, and then I just have to keep telling myself to dial it back a little bit and keep being more simple. So that's what I did. I just stuck with the black, and instead of cutting out that heart, I just raised it up on some fun little black foam squares that I have been real excited about using, and I keep forgetting that I have them, which is one good thing about moving and trying to reorganize a craft room, is that you find all the goodies that you thought you organized away, and then you just lost them. That's what they look like. They've got a fun little polka dot sticker on the back. So those are black, which is great because you won't see them from the side. So I'm going to just pop those onto those 3 little strips and add them to the top of the heart. And then I'm going to embellish a little bit more with some Nuvo Jewel Drops and Dream Drops. So I decided to get out my T-square ruler here and make sure that I've got them kind of lined up straight. I was using the pattern to help me do that, but I didn't want to tear anything up. If I messed up, I would tear the ink. All right, last one. Now I'm going to grab these Dream Drops. I got the Dream Drops in the pink. I can't remember the name of the pink. And this is one of the Jewel Drops in a, it might be peach. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but I will have them all listed below. I grabbed the other pinks of those and the white, but I ended up using just those 2 sort of pinky peach colors. And then I did use 1 piece of that, the Dream Drop in the white there in the middle. And that was another thing, you know, you could kind of go in endless directions, and I just made myself stop and just have just a couple little accents there of dimension with that. I did take the Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen, and I added it to most of the places that I had colored over with the Prismacolor. And then I also added it to the black sentiment strips, which I thought looked kind of fun. I could have misted those first or misted them after I had heat embossed them, but I just added this, and it's great because it doesn't make it too wet, and it gives a little bit of shine. And that is it. Pretty simple and pretty easy to repeat. You can see the details here, and then the final card. Thanks so much for stopping by and being patient with my lighting issues. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things and get back into really starting to do some more scrapbook pages. I really missed that and have been in the process of moving, been watching my kids go through them, and it's been really interesting to see that happen. And so I really want to get back into more scrapbook pages. So that's where we may go next. So thanks so much for watching, and there'll be a complete list below and a link to the blog post. Thanks so much. Bye.